And what a weekend of developments regarding Microsoft.
Look, I think Microsoft was the laggard. And if you recall, people did not like the quarter, which I thought was silly because Satya really did deliver. But now we have something that puts them right in league, if not passing, in terms of the growth, Google and Facebook among a certain demographic that people really want, which is the which is the 18-year-old demographic. I go on TikTok and I'm off in a stand. There's a good one right now about Federal Express delivering packages versus UPS versus the post office. But, David, your kids may like it. I find it soporific. At the same time, it's got a lot of viewers.
It does. 80 million MAUs here in the States. Yes, one of mine does. Typically, it does skew more female than male, and the other one doesn't. But this is a fascinating situation, guys, for any number of reasons. And unlike anything that I can recall having seen, in part because the government is so deeply involved in basically dictating the potential sale of a business to one company. And it really ends up being one company. You know, as you guys know, I've been following this to a large extent over the last few weeks. And it was a difficult thing to imagine. How would ByteDance go about disposing of this business if they weren't going to be selling it to one company? How would they do an IPO, an enormous IPO with their some of their investors rolling in? It was difficult, but the sale route is certainly the one that would be easiest for them. At the same time, ByteDance, right, the giant Chinese company at this point, let's not forget, most recently valued at about $135 billion in the last round, which, of course, operates TikTok around the world and has a huge presence in China, is in a very difficult position because they're facing the possibility of being shut down in the U.S. or potential sale to what is really one, as I said, potential buyer, and that is Microsoft, which is currently in talks to acquire the company. Price of which, very difficult to know, but Microsoft certainly in a very advantageous position, it would seem, because I'm not quite sure what other avenues ByteDance would have. Certainly they could sue or they could try to use the legal system here to say this is we're being wrongly shut down. But, you know, that would put them in a potentially precarious position, impact the overall value of the company in a significant way, given the growth potential of this business. As you point out, Jim, it's $1 billion in revenues now, but it could be as much as $6 billion next year if it continues at its current rate of growth. So we'll just have to see here. So many different cross currents. It is very, very fluid, the situation at this point. And yet Microsoft is certainly in a very interesting position because it's kind of got the only check mark. You can go through the list of potential buyers and why they can't do it. Microsoft, remember DOD already signing them on for that cloud contract that Amazon, of course, was challenging. So you see why, from a security standpoint, the U.S. certainly seems prepared to have Microsoft own that business.
Well, I got to tell you something. I am perturbed by it to some degree. The Chinese communists have my email. I don't want them having my email. Will Microsoft be compromised in having to do things that the Chinese communists want? What will Microsoft have to give up in China? Or what kind of security clearances are there? Is this the right move versus a company that has no contacts in China and therefore won't be pressured? So I don't know. I mean, Carl, this weekend, when I heard about this, I said to myself, geez, I am shocked that the president would go for this, just because I think that this is the backdoor, some people would say, fifth column way to get into a major American company. And I'm not crazy about it.
Just Jim,
yeah,
Jim,
there's also
if you are, the idea here is to have the assets completely owned and run by a U.S. company with fully owned by U.S. shareholders, or in this case by Microsoft, everything being based in the U.S. I don't understand what your concerns conceivably would be with something like that.
How about another company that doesn't have as much?
What other company?
How about PE?
What other company would,
How about General Atlantic
you?
buying it? How about General Atlantic? They're in there. Why don't they buy the whole thing?
Hey, you know what?
What?
You're talking about what could be $25, $30 billion price tag, right? I mean, you could imagine. Certainly that's at least a number that's been out there. We'll see where we end up. That's speculation. I don't know what price they're really talking about.
How about Verizon to make up their ridiculous media division?
Well, maybe they're not interested. I mean, you know,
well, if it's a fire
Carl,
sale,
social has been something that Microsoft has been interested for some time. Obviously, LinkedIn, one of their largest acquisitions. Don't forget, years ago, the hostile bid they made for Yahoo, just watching Bomber on.
Right.
You know, they've always wanted social. You could imagine as well, Carl, that this will even supercharge the use of Azure. All that data that Jim's talking about, you know, a huge data hog is TikTok, beneficial for the cloud business at Microsoft.
In two ways, Carl. I don't know if I want them. Surveillance, monitoring. Is this the
we
back
haven't
door?
mentioned the implicit risks, guys, of running a social network, right? There's all kind. Twitter and Facebook can tell you all about that. Not to mention the possibility, maybe not likelihood, but the possibility that TikTok ends up being a MySpace or a flash in the pan.